Welcome back, dreamer. You're with us tonight on Midnight Disclosure, where the secrets of our world reveal themselves in shadows. Get comfortable, take a deep breath, and let your mind wander as we travel through Europa continent, not only of kings and castles, but of secrets that have hung in its skies for centuries. When most folks imagine UFOs, their thoughts go to Roswell, Area 51, or Nevada's desert landscapes. But Europe has its own tale encounters secretly stored in the archives, whispered among pilots, reported by villagers, and buried in government reports. Tonight, we bring them to light, so shut your eyes, let the day disappear, and imagine the skies of the old world, legendary, and maybe not so human after all. The Belgian wave, lights in the dark. We start in Belgium, 1989. It was a chilly November evening when police officers in Eupen stopped and stared. Suspended in the air was an enormous, silent triangle, its edges defined by flashing lights. Unrecognizable to anything they'd ever seen, it glided slowly, steadily, as if inspecting the town below. The officers came back and reported the sighting, and within hours, hundreds of witnesses throughout Belgium were describing the same thing: huge, black, triangular-shaped craft moving silently overhead. They weren't brief flashes or dots of light in the distance. These were close, clear, and unmistakable. The Belgian Air Force scrambled F-16 fighter jets to intercept. On their radars, they locked onto strange objects. But the craft played a dangerous game, accelerating instantly, darting away at impossible speeds, then reappearing elsewhere. The jets, some of the fastest machines on Earth, couldn't keep up. For months, sightings went on. Tens of thousands of individuals reported seeing the triangles. Even the then Prime Minister conceded that something remarkable had happened. But what were they? Stealth jets from the future? Or travelers from elsewhere visiting Europe's night skies quietly? Rendlesham Forest, Britain's Roswell. Let us now travel to England. December 1980. Christmas Eve night. In the frosty Suffolk countryside, American flyers based at RAF Woodbridge were jolted by forest lights, assuming it could be a wrecked plane. They went to investigate. What they discovered was stranger. Amongst the trees, a shining metal ship rested quietly on the forest ground. Its body glowed with reflected light similar to molten glass, and unusual markings were scored into its skin. As they crept closer, the object rose, floating silently before it threaded between the trees and disappeared into the darkness. The lights appeared again the next evening. Colonel Charles Halt took a group into the woods, equipped with tape recorders to record what happened. You can hear their voices, strained and unnerved, on the recordings. They talk of rays of light descending from the heavens, objects moving rapidly across the horizon, and animals in the forest fleeing in a state of panic as if something otherworldly had awakened them. Those recordings continue to this day. Not gossip, not rumor, actual voices of experienced military personnel, telling of something that they could not make sense of. For some, Rendlesham continues to be the UK's Roswellian encounter, still locked in secrecy. The Hesdalen Lights. Norway's Mystery Valley head north to a remote valley in Norway. Since the 1930s, locals in Hesdalen have witnessed anomalous lights hovering in the sky. Radiant, glowing spheres, white, red, or yellow, linger silently, then shoot off at unbelievable velocities. During the 1980s, the lights were so common that they occurred nearly every night. Scientists came, deploying cameras and radar equipment to photograph the phenomenon. To their astonishment, they were able to film the lights, register them on instruments, and verify they existed. But what they were, no one had a clue. Some thought plasma or natural energy. Others thought it must have been something much more bizarre, an Earth craft, which had been attracted to this isolated valley. Even now, the lights still show up. A phenomenon that science recognizes but cannot account for. The Valençol Incident, France, 1965. On the 1st of July, 1965. In Valençol's lavender fields, a farmer by the name of Maurice Mass was starting his day. But when he entered the fields, he noticed something that paralyzed him. There, among the bouquets of flowers, was an egg-shaped vehicle with landing legs. Next to it were two small creatures, no taller than children, with large heads and black eyes. Mass had described them as neither scary nor welcoming, just there, as if performing some sort of job. As he drew closer, one of the creatures raised a device, and Mass was suddenly immobilized, unable to act. A few minutes later, the creatures went back into their craft, which lifted silently off the ground and disappeared. For weeks afterward, Mass described how his lavender field stayed unusually fertile where the craft had touched down. Neighbors verified the account, and even the police investigated. To this day, the Valençol event remains one of France's most credible close encounters. The calm before sleeps, so many stories, so many encounters, and we are just beginning. As you float further, picture yourself under those same skies. Visualize the silent triangles above Belgium, the glowing UFO in Rendlesham's woods, the blazing orbs of Norway, the egg-shaped boat amidst lavender. Europe's skies are abuzz with secrets, poorly shared, easily forgotten, but never lost. And tonight, they are yours to hear. The Westel Encounter, a forgotten European parallel, though the world prefers to remember. Australia's schoolyard sighting. Europe too has had its share of children who went out into the sky and encountered something they would never be able to erase from memory. One such lesser documented event occurred in Florence, Italy, in 1954, on the 27th of October. In a football match watched by 10,000 people, play was abruptly suspended. Why? Because unidentified objects were in the sky, silvery forms flying overhead, depositing a sparkling, fibrous material that rained down over the field like cotton threads. Players, spectators, even referees gazed up in mute amazement, as if the sky itself had split open. Swatches of the strange substance were taken, but these dispersed readily upon contact. Newspapers dubbed it angel hair. Scientists were stumped. Witnesses were adamant. They had witnessed vehicles not of this world. The Canary Islands sightings, Spain's mass UFO wave in 1976. The skies over the Canary Islands burst open in one of Europe's biggest mass sightings on record. It started as a glowing ball, so brilliant it lit up the sea beneath it. Then, in front of hundreds of onlookers, ranging from doctors to fishermen and military men, the ball dissolved into pieces. Inside, they witnessed what appeared to be a giant transparent dome with human-like figures silhouetted inside. The sighting took almost 40 minutes. Too long for illusion. Too much detail for dismissal. Even Spain's military reported the event, confirming the occurrence without providing an explanation. It is still one of Europe's most eerie mass encounters. The Voronezh incident. Russia's giants. Next, we enter Russia. 1989. Kids playing in a park in the city of Voronezh reported something remarkable. A red glowing sphere descending close to them. From it came tall beings, almost 10 feet tall, with long heads and robot escorts by their side. The kids shrieked, but the beings did not seem to care, watching the humans before disappearing as suddenly as they came. What is great about this story is that several adults in the region saw strange lights simultaneously. It was reported by newspapers. It was investigated by officials, even if explained as mass hysteria. The multitude of reports made it impossible to ignore. The Emilson abduction, Poland's secret story. In May of 1978, a Polish farmer named Jan Wolski from Emilson had what would turn out to be one of Europe's most bizarre abduction experiences. He said he was driving his horse-drawn cart when two figures materialized on either side of him, about human height, but wearing tight-fitting suits with peculiar details. They took him or maybe forced him in a small vehicle that lay in a clearing. Within it, Volsky wrote of walls so smooth they seemed to be grown, not constructed. The figures inspected him, taking instruments that baffled him, and then let him go. None the worse. Unlike many abduction accounts, Volsky's story remained consistent throughout his life. A monument now stands in marking the site of Poland's most famous UFO encounter. The secret files of Europe's governments. What ties all these stories together is not just the encounters, but the silence that followed. Across Europe, governments have investigated UFOs in secret. The UK Ministry of Defence operated Project Condign, examining thousands of sightings. France established GuyPen, an openly gathering government program of UFO sightings. Even Russia and Spain maintained fat files under wraps for decades, and then, when records are finally declassified, they're frequently incomplete, censored, or replete with jargon that says it all, without confessing to anything. Unidentified aerial phenomena, of unknown origin, no conventional explanation. The language is evasive. The truth is always out of reach. The calm between stories and so, dreamer, we keep drifting. Over Italy's skies, Spain's islands, Russia's parks, and Poland's fields, the meetings make their impression. Some are dazzling, witnessed by thousands. Others are muted, secreted between one person and the midnight sky. But collectively, they speak the same truth. Europe's skies are not bare. They never were. The Basel Lights, Switzerland, 1566. Let's start way back, way before the age of airplanes, when the mere idea of machines in the air was impossible. In Basel, Switzerland, residents claimed to have witnessed unusual lights in the sky, bright spheres that battled with each other, moving rapidly back and forth, glowing red and black before disappearing. Local newspapers at the time accounted for it as a celestial battle, observed by hundreds. To others, it was a sign from heaven. To others today, it sounds like a UFO sighting centuries prior to the modern world. Whatever it was, the Swiss sky was filled with something out of the ordinary. The Greifswald lights, East Germany, 1990, and now, to a more contemporary occurrence. On the last days leading up to Germany's reunification, thousands of individuals in Greifswald glanced upward and noticed 5 glowing orbs suspended together in mid-air over the Baltic Sea. The orbs persisted for almost an hour. They moved gradually, then flashed into fresh configurations, as though they were being choreographed by some unseen force. Fishermen, soldiers, students, and faculty members alike described the same phenomenon. No military maneuvers were planned that evening. No standard explanation was ever verified, and yet one whole city witnessed an event that disappeared as mysteriously as it arrived. The Transin-Provence case, France, 1981, one of Europe's best documented UFO cases, occurred on January 8, 1981. Man by the name of Renato Nicolai detected a strange sound outside his farmhouse in Trans-N-Provence. When he ventured outside, he noticed a metallic disc-shaped object land momentarily in his garden before blasting off at unbelievable velocity. What is so incredible about this tale is what followed. Police detectives gathered soil and plant material from where the object landed. Laboratory tests revealed strange chemical alterations in the soil, and plants were found to be This case, unlike most UFO reports, included physical evidence. Scientists still can't entirely account for it. The ancient connection, Europe's old legends, but maybe the most bizarre meetings are not new at all. From across Europe, ancient legends tell of guests from the heavens, stories of radiant chariots, gods who came in shafts of light, and creatures with unusual powers who instructed humankind in the secrets of the stars. In Ireland, there are stories of the Tuatha De Danann, a people who were said to come in ships that shone when they sailed down from the heavens. In Greece, the gods were frequently described not only as spirits, but as radiant beings, riding in chariots of light. Are these myths? Or are these remnants of memories, ancient experiences told in the only terms people of those days had to tell them? The thread that runs through them, all from the skies of Switzerland to the shores of Germany, from France's gardens to Ireland's myths. One thing is certain. Europe has always looked up and seen something that didn't belong. The tales have been told for centuries. Dancing lights, craft that touch down, observers that lurk, facts that will not disappear. The question isn't if they occurred. The question is, why here? Why so frequently? And why still concealed? Closing thoughts for the night. And so, dreamer, as your body floats deeper into slumber, allow the visions to settle in your head. Imagine the flashing domes above the Canary Islands, the ghostly triangles above Belgium, the lights waltzing above Greifswald, the fields of lavender at Valensole, caressed by something divine. These are the stories the world tends to forget, the meetings few will ever tell, the secrets hidden in Europe's skies. You're not the only one who has wondered. Others have gazed up at night and had the same questions. Maybe, in some far-off sense, the ones responsible for these events want us to continue wondering, to continue seeking. But for tonight, that is enough to dream, to allow the enigma to sweep you past the bars of terror and into the great unknown. Rest now, beneath the same stars that witnessed those tales. And as you sleep, keep in mind, skies are never empty. They are waiting, alive, and sharing their secrets with whoever will heed the call. This is Midnight Disclosure. Until next time, sleep peacefully, dream profoundly, and never lose your curiosity.